Hi there! Today I will show you on how to install computer system. I will discuss what are the devices of a computer and show you on how to install or assemble them. I will discuss also the input and output devices and on how you will assemble them, therefore your computer will work. Let's start now! Your computer is composed of different devices, the system unit and its parts, and the input and output like keyboard and monitor. Now, we will start with the computer devices. What are the devices of a computer? The physical, touchable, electronic, and mechanical parts of a computer are called the hardware, which is composed of different devices attached to the computer. The following list represent basic set of devices found in most personal computers. First, system unit, the main part of a microcomputer, sometimes called the chassis. It includes the following parts: motherboard, microprocessor, memory chips, buses, ports, expansion slots, and cards. Second, motherboard, also known as mainboard or system board, the main circuit board of a computer. It contains all the circuit and components that run the computer. Third, CPU or central processing unit. The processor is the main, brain, or heart of a computer system. It performs all of the instructions and calculations that are needed and manages the flow of information through a computer. Fourth, primary storage, also called internal storage, main memory, or memory, is the computer's working storage space that holds data, instructions for processing, and processed data, information, waiting to be sent to secondary storage. Physically, primary storage is a collection of RAM chips. There are two types of memory: A. ROM, read-only memory. ROM is non-volatile, means it holds data even when the power is on or off. B. RAM, random access memory. RAM is volatile, meaning it holds data only when the power is on. When the power is off, RAM contents are lost. 5. Expansion bus. A bus is a data pathway between several hardware components in or outside a computer. It does not only connect the parts of the CPU to each other, but also links the CPU with other important hardware. 6. Adapters. Printed circuit board, also called interface cards, that enable the computers to use a peripheral device for which it does not have the necessary connection or circuit boards. They are often used to permit upgrading to a new different hardware. 7. Power supply unit, also called as PSU, installed in the back corner of the PC case next to the motherboard. It converts 120 VAC standard house power into DC voltage that are used by other components in the PC. Hard disk drive, HDD, also known as the hard drive, is a magnetic storage device that is installed inside the computer. The hard drive is used as permanent storage for data. In a Windows computer, the hard drive is usually configured as the C drive and contains the operating system and applications. 9. Optical drive. An optical drive is a storage device that uses lasers to read data on the optical media. There are three types of optical drives: compact disc, digital versatile disc, and Blu-ray disc. 10. Digital versatile disc. Designed to optically access data stored on a DVD. A laser moves back and forth near the disc surface and accesses data at a very fast rate. Now we're done with the basic set of devices found in most personal computers. Now I will teach you the procedure on how to assemble them. All you need to do is follow the procedures. Let's go now.
A few moments later.
Step 1. Prepare your workplace. The inventory. Before you start, take an inventory of your parts. Do not begin assembling your computer if you don't have everything you need. Begin the step-by-step process once you are ready with everything you need. Make space, make time. Building a PC takes up space, about a dining room table worth, so make sure you have plenty of working rooms and a few hours to proceed with minimal interruption. Work on a Flat, tabletop surface or bare floor where you have room to lay out all of the items. Prepare grounding protection. Use an inexpensive anti-static wrist strap. Make sure you are wearing your anti-static wrist strap correctly. It does you no good at all if you do not wear it, and you are ready to proceed. Having the drivers ready assuming you have another internet connector PC. Download the latest drivers from the vendors, websites for each component you will be installing. Sometimes drivers are updated between the time the component was manufactured and the time you are installing it. It is always best to have the latest. Copy them to a CD for easy access. Step 2. Prepare the motherboard. Great care should be taken when installing the motherboard. First, take the board out of its packaging and put it on top of the anti-static bag it came in. Remember, you always want to safeguard your components from potentially hazardous static electricity. Before you secure the motherboard onto the PC case or chassis, inspect it carefully for any visible defects. Next, review the motherboard manual to make sure you are familiar with the motherboard layout and understand which socket is which. Manuals are extremely helpful, usually easy to read, and include illustrations. Below you can find instructions on how to install the processor, the heatsink, and the memory modules on the motherboard. You should not place the motherboard in the computer case until you are told to do so. Step 3. Install the CPU. Use the unlocking mechanism to open the CPU socket, which is usually a lever. Carefully line up the pins and place the chips in its socket. It will fit only when oriented the proper way. An arrow or a missing pin on one corner of the chip will show you how to line things up. Align triangular CPU and socket key marks. Lower the lever to lock the CPU into place. Step 4. Install the CPU heatsink. Follow the manufacturer's directions to install the heatsink and the fan that will cool the processor. If you bought an OEM CPU and a separate heatsink, you may need to spread a thin layer of thermal grease that came with the heatsink over the chip to ensure proper transfer of heat. Some heatsinks come with this grease already applied. Attach the clip that holds the heatsink in place, keeping in mind and it may require a fair amount of force. Again, follow the instructions that came with the heatsink. They will show you how to fit it correctly. If you are in doubt, you can visit the manufacturer's website for more information. Plug the CPU fan's power connectors into the proper connectors on the motherboard. Step 5. Install memory. RAM modules. In order to install the memory modules, insert them into the proper sockets and push down firmly but evenly until the clips on both sides of the socket pop into place. If your motherboard supports dual-channel memory, consult the user manual to determine which pair of RAM sockets you should use. The motherboard and the CPU are the brain and nerve center of your PC, so selecting these components is the most important decision you'll make. Step 6. Place the motherboard into the case. Some PC cases have a removable motherboard tray. If yours does, remove the screws holding it and place and pull it out on the case. Note the pattern of the holes in your motherboard and screw brass standoff into the motherboard tray or into the PC case into correct locations. Always check the manual and follow the instructions to the letter. Check the layout of the sockets on the motherboard and confirm the other parts on your motherboard's back panel match the holes on the case's input-output shield that installed in your case. If necessary, remove the old I/O shield by tapping it firmly a few times with the butt end of screwdriver and then replace it with the shield that carefully came with the new motherboard. Carefully position the motherboard on the top of the brass standoff, line all of the holes, and use the screws that accompanied the case to fasten down the motherboard. If you are using a removable tray into your system, slide the tray and motherboard back into the case and secure the tray. Step 7. Connect the power supply. Making the proper connection is crucial to successfully assembling your PC system. Fortunately, manufacturers provide color-coded power cables and unique connector shapes to make job easy. First, Plug the large ATX power connectors from your power supply into the matching ports on your motherboard. Look Figure X for the details. 2. Locate the smaller square processor connector, you cannot miss it. It's the most sprouting the yellow and black bars and attached into the motherboard. Note, your connectors is usually located near the processor. As always, refer to your motherboard's manual for the locations. 3. Use your motherboard user manual and find descriptions about general front panel connectors. Note, you are going to be doing work that requires attention to detail can be quite frustrating if you do not get into with the right attitude. Attach each of tiny leads from the power and reset switches, the hard disk activity lights, the PC speaker, and front panel USB and firewire ports to the corresponding pin on your motherboard. The needle nose pliers are useful for manipulating small pieces. Step 8. Install graphics video cards. Begin by removing the back plane cover from the AG Power PCI Express X16 slot, the metal pieces where the monitor connector will emerge. Install the graphics board into the slot and then secure the card with a screw. Step 9. Install internal drives. Now it is time to install your drives. This is an easy process but it requires attention to detail. Make any necessary changes to jumpers on the drives before mounting them into the case. A 2-drive system 1 or 2 SATA serial ATA in a standard hardware interface for connecting hard drives and CD-DVD drives to a computer. Hard drives plus 1 parallel ATA advanced technology attachment, optical drive for example, is easy to set up. The SATA drives are jumperless and the optical drive can be set as master on its own parallel ATA channel. Many cases have removable drive rails or cages to house drives. Use the included screws to attach your drives to the rails or cage and slide them into the case. For externally accessible drives such as a DVD recorder, you can save time by installing one drive rail and sliding this drive for a test fitting to make sure that in front is flush with the case. When the drives are installed, connect power and data to each one. Parallel ATA drives use wide, flat data cables that can be installed only to the correct way. Floppy drives use a similar but smaller cable. SATA drives use thin, 1 cm wide data cable. SATA drives use a new type of power connector that many power supplies don't come with. Fortunately, many motherboards ship with the adapters that converting a standard 4-pin power connector to a SATA power connector. Step 10. Install the add-in cards. For each add-in card, you must choose a free PCI slot. Remove its backplane cover to allow from the rear of the case. Carefully position the card above the slot and press down firmly to set the card. Secure the card with a screw. Now that we are done with the basic set of devices found in most personal computers and on how to assemble it, let's move on to our last part of discussion today. Connecting peripherals of a computer. So, let's start it.
A few moments later.
When attaching hardware and peripherals of the computer, ensure that they are connected to the correct location or ports. For example, some mouse and keyboard cables use the same type of PS2 connectors. So you must know the different ports that can be found in the back panel of the computer. I did not explain to you the peripherals and their use because I surely believe that you know or you have idea on them already. But this is just the input and output devices like monitor, mouse, keyboard, printers, etc. So let's move on. Steps in connecting peripherals of a PC. Step 1. Attach the monitor cable to the video port. So this is the monitor cable or what we called VGA. So we will attach it first here, then here. So step 2, secure the cable by tightening screws on the connector. There are 2 screws each connector. Step 3, plug the keyboard cable into the PS2 keyboard port, but as what I told you earlier, new keyboard are USB cable already. That's why you will just plug it on USB port. So, here is the keyboard. We'll just plug it. Step 4. Plug the mouse cable into the PS2 mouse port. Same as the keyboard. This one, we will plug it here. Step 5. Plug the network cable into the network port. Here, the RJ45. A network consists of 2 or more computers that are linked in order to share resources, such as printers and CDs, exchange files, or allow electronic communications. The computer on waves on a network may be linked through cables, telephone line, radio waves, satellites, or infrared light beams. This network is also called internet connection, or what we call wireless fidelity or Wi-Fi. With the use of this Wi-Fi, we can connect to those applications online. So we will connect it here. Last step, step 7, plug the power cable into network supply. This is our power cable. Then we will put it here. We'll turn this one on. Then we will put this on the extension. So, last step, if you have other peripherals like webcam or printer, just plug them on USB cable. Example, this one. We will put it here. So, may nakalimutan po pala ako. Ito pong sa monitor. So, kailangan din to para mapagana natin ang monitor. There. Then, isasaksak din po natin sa extension. So, thank you for listening. I hope you've learned a lot from me today. Take care and God bless you.